Okay. Welcome to Oath Keepers Now. I'm Mike Chisholm. I have a couple of quick announcements, and then I'll get to my guest. A couple of announcements. Each Friday at 1 p.m. on 150 North Main in Old Town Pocatello, in the Home Specialist's office, there's a class called The Making of America. It's ran by Ron Clayson. If you attend it, you'll learn a whole lot of things. Basically how our founding fathers and mothers came together, even though they at times were not in agreement, and of course many of them had arguments, but they were able to form what we have today, our Constitution. Also, on the 17th of October, in the City Council chambers in Pocatello City Hall, there'll be an emergency preparedness, let's just say, session. A lot of people will be there, Costco, BLM, to just say a few. It'll be from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Everyone's welcome. Well, this is an election season. Today I have a special guest, Commissioner. Thank you for having me on.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to come and visit with you. Appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm married. My wife Eve and I have 4 children and 6 grandchildren. 3 of our 4 children are active duty in the military, 2 in the United States Army, 1 in the United States Air Force. All 3 have served honorably in Iraq and or Afghanistan. Our youngest son, Jared, is serving second tour of duty in Afghanistan and has been there pretty much 26 of the last 36 months. And so
that's a long time.
He's had a long haul in Afghanistan, and looking forward to having him come home, hopefully the end of November. So that's sort of my history. I served as a police officer, sheriff's deputy here in Bannock County. Spent my career here. I retired a few years ago from service with the sheriff's office, and then I went on the road for a little while teaching about gangs, drugs, and violence. I'd done it a number of years part-time, and then went and did it full-time for 4 years in 10 states surrounding Idaho, and then decided to run for county commissioner as my way of giving back to my community, and that's sort of where I am right now.
Well, this is your first term, correct?
It is. I'm just ending my first term, a 2-year term. If I win this time, it'd be a 4-year term.
A 4-year term.
They rotate 2, then 4.
Oh, okay. That brings me to a point. As a commissioner, I have not really ever looked into what a commissioner does. And many people I've spoken with out in the public, they don't know what a commissioner does. What do you do?
It's amazing to me when I got to be a county commissioner to find out how many people had no clue what a county commissioner does, or even what a mayor does. And county commissioners are the legislative body of the county. They create the ordinances, they pass the resolutions, they make policy for the county, they control all of the budget for all county departments, they create and control that budget. The county commissioners have certain departments within the county that they have direct authority over. Pretty much what they do is run the affairs of the county, similar to what a mayor and city council do in a city government.
Why are there 3 commissioners in our county?
That's the way the state legislature set up Idaho, is to be a body of 3 county commissioners separated into districts. And even though every citizen votes for every commissioner, we do have a district assignment. For example, my assignment is District 3, which is the central portion of Bannock County, so really Pocatello proper, right down the center of the city. And so that's my area per se.
So you must have had in this term probably a lot of decisions you had to make that were unpopular.
There's always unpopular decisions when you're talking about people's money. We control property tax levies, and anytime you are collecting property taxes from people, they have a concern and should have a concern. People should be concerned with the amount of taxes that we pay in this country, all kinds of taxes, but particularly because we control property taxes, they should be concerned about property taxes. And I feel like, as a county commissioner, my obligation is to keep services as high as possible, but property taxes as low as possible. And I believe that more than any commission in the history of this county, we have accomplished that goal.
If a resident here in Pocatello, and that's for everyone out there, would like to look at the stats that you've voted for or you've passed, can they go online and see all these things?
Our minutes and things are online. You can go on and look at what decisions we've made. You can come in on any Wednesday. That's our business day. Didn't used to have a business day in Bannock County. We just did business as it came up, even though it was illegal. That's how we did business. And so now we do business on Wednesday, so anybody that wants to can come in and sit in our meetings on Wednesday and watch us do everything. Everything we do is open, honest, and transparent. You can come in and watch every decision we make now, and it didn't used to be that way. It should have.
Yeah, and I've been to a couple of your hearings.
You know.
And that's at the courthouse on the second floor?
It is. Okay. Correct.
Have you been called? What are your hours of operation for you specifically? If you get a call and 24/7.
I'd like to say that I work, certain days and certain hours, but one of the most surprising things to me about becoming a commissioner is that you work daytime, nighttime, weekends, Sundays. I mean, we're always on call. Unfortunately, I mean, we're tied to a cell phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're always on call, and we have meetings at every conceivable hour of the day. For example, yesterday, my day started at 6 a.m. and ended at 11:30 last night with really no breaks, not even mealtime breaks.
No overtime,
it's good because I'm losing weight, but that's not probably the best way to do it. No overtime, no hourly wage. But that's what we do when we get involved in our civic government duties. If you get engaged in the process, you don't look at it as an 8 to 5 job. You look at it as almost as a calling. You're there to do whatever needs to be done to benefit the people.
So you get a personal satisfaction out of it?
I love my job. I don't like the politics portion of it. I don't like campaign time, but the job itself, I love doing the work. It's very, very rewarding. I'll give you an example. Can I give you an example?
Sure, of course,
okay.
Yes, I like that.
We've been dealing with the after effects of the Charlotte fire, which has been a devastating event for us. And had a lady whose home is in the fire zone that called me. Her house was saved, but she called, said, would you please come out and look at the place where my house is? I'm concerned about water erosion and things, and that the floods are going to take my house out. And so I took Brett Grayson, who's one of our supervisors at our Road and Bridge Department, out with me because he's helping with the reseeding program that we're starting next week. So I took him out with me to evaluate what the problem was at this lady's house. And we get there and we start talking, and all of a sudden she stops and she starts tearing up. And I'm thinking, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And she looks at Mr. Grayson and she says, I just realized you're the man that saved my home. And then she throws this big bear hug on him and starts to cry. And he says, well, yeah, I was just doing my job. I was driving one of the water trucks. No, it was more than that. You saved my home. And she looked at me and she said, Howard, this is the man that saved my home. How can you not feel good about those kinds of things? Yeah. It's just a remarkable experience when you know that you've made decisions that have benefited people's lives and have helped them through some of the most serious crises of their life.
Some very arduous times for those Charlotte people.
Very
arduous people. Very arduous out there. As you said, the people here, this is just my opinion, the people here are just spectacular. We're very giving, kind. I came here a few years back and I was just taken aback by how well the people are here. Question. Short of the Charlotte fire, what would you say is one of your most important issues that you came across that you feel maybe you could have done better or you could have done differently?
There's always an issue with money and jobs. And you always say, could I have spent more time trying to find new business and so forth? I'm not sure where I'd have found time or how I'd have done that, but you always try and evaluate that. You always look at it. But I think that this commission, probably more than any commission in history, some of the successes that we're enjoying right now are dramatic. Matter of fact, I'll tell you one of those that nobody knows yet. You're the first to know it.
Okay.
Because the numbers came out today. We started a new budgeting process when I came into office, and we started a service-based budget process where the departments of the county would actually have to sit down and show us on paper why they need what they're asking for. And we knew that it would take 2 or 3 years to get that process in place where it would start saving us money. Well, the first budget year, which ended just a year ago, even though the budget, the dollar amount had raised, we came in $3 million under budget. And we thought, wow, that is the coolest thing ever to be able to say we saved $3 million and came in that far under what the budget was. Well, this year, again, because one budget had to be created before the other one ended, the budget went up a little. But do you know what our numbers are that came in just last night?
I have no idea.
We saved $8 million off of our budget this year. That represents somewhere around 15% of our budget that we saved. That's a huge amount of money to save the taxpayers of this community. And so for me, those kinds of things are wonderful things, but I'd like to be able to save even more. I'd like to be able to figure out how to do even better job of providing tax relief for our community.
Speaking of business, I hear about the rodeo. What's going on with the rodeo?
Well, the rodeo that we've had for a number of years, both the Dodge National Circuit Finals Rodeo and the new Western Frontier Rodeo, have lost money for a number of years. And of course, that's a private organization. It's not a government-funded organization. We do assist where we can. But they've lost money, and they owe some money still to some of their vendors and those kinds of things. And so we're trying as a community, as community leaders, to figure out if there's any way we have of assisting in trying to keep a rodeo here, because it's a mainstay event in this community, but we just don't know yet whether we'll be able to do it. And there's still a rodeo committee in place from the old rodeo, and we're not going to jump on, on a new bandwagon really until we see what's going to happen with them. So I'm hopeful that something will happen that will help us to maintain a rodeo here in the community.
Well, like they say, sometimes if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah. Question. Constitutionality of elected officials.
Okay.
Do you believe that all elected officials should be proficient with the Constitution?
I do.
And how would you, I don't know if you have any subordinates, I don't know if you have anyone working under the commissioners. Do you feel, how would you ensure that those working under you adheres to the U.S. Constitution?
Well, I think we have a litmus test, and if we all have an iPad, just like you do there, and my iPad.
Yours is a little fancier.
Matter of fact, well, it might be, I don't know, but if you look at my iPad, you bring it up, there's the Constitution, because I believe that constitutional issues are paramount. When I was sworn into office, I raised my hand and I took an oath, and the oath was that I would defend and protect the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Idaho, and that I would make sure that we adhere to the laws and ordinances that pertain to the county for which I was elected to represent. I think it's imperative that we understand it. Now, I'm not a constitutional scholar like you. I don't have it all memorized.
Oh, neither do I.
So I have it at my disposal, because if I'm going to defend something, then I need to understand it. Now, I have a little bit of an advantage over lots of public officials, because I took that same oath during the many years that I was in law enforcement. I also took an oath to defend the Constitution and the laws. But it's hard to defend something if you don't know it, if you don't understand it. I try and understand it a little better all the time, because I want to make sure that if I'm passing legislative ordinances, which we're a legislative body, if we're passing ordinances, I want to make sure that those ordinances comply. For example,